Good morning. It's April 26th and Tuesday. Normally on Mondays I walk along the creek, but because yesterday I went downtown, which is something I often do on Tuesday, instead I'm going to walk along the creek on this breezy and cool morning. This morning. It's quite breezy. And it was, when I checked, below freezing, but going up to +8 or something today. And snow tomorrow, but I don't think it'll stick. It's supposed to be +8 or something tomorrow too, but they are calling for snow. And Thursday when I go to Saskatoon for Sask Expo, it's going to be +14, so that'll be good. Today's a fun day because once I've done this, I'm going up to my office and I'll be doing my taxes and being self-employed and freelance and all that. It's not as straightforward as plugging in a few numbers, so it'll take me all day probably, possibly into tomorrow. But I'd like to get it done today. Tomorrow I need to focus on getting ready for Thursday when I go up to Sask Expo. Load in on Thursday afternoon. The expo doesn't start till Friday afternoon, but if you want to get in through the big doors, you have to do it on Thursday. And I could carry all my stuff in through just regular doors, but it's a lot easier if you can use one of the big flatbed trailers when you've got box upon box of books, and there's usually, 20 boxes of books I have to get in, unpack, set up. I've got these nice little wooden book display stands now that I just got, which will change the way I set up my table and a little more efficient use of space. Makes it look better. I'll be in booth 222, which if you're old enough, makes you think of an old sitcom called Room 222 with Karen Valentine as the star. Room 222. So if you're in Saskatoon, come find me at Sask Expo. Who are the big stars? I think we've got Carrie Elwes. Is that how you pronounce his name? Probably best known from The Princess Bride. At least that's what I know him from the most. And Anthony Rapp, I think his name is, from Star Trek Discovery. And another Star Trek Discovery guy. I don't know who else. I've seen it, but the guests don't matter much to me. When your focus is on your own booth, you never see these guys or girls, or rarely, unless they happen to go by. William Shatner walked in front of my table at the Fan Expo in Regina a few years ago, so that's about as close as I've come to it. Oh no, that's not true. I had my photo taken with, what's his name? Can't think of his name. Captain Jack from Doctor Who. Terrible. Anyway, he came around the exhibit floor before it opened, and I got a picture with him, even though he said he wasn't really supposed to do that, because of course they charge to have their photos taken with people. But he did it, which was nice of him. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it was nice of him. So yesterday I did the first Shadow Pop Press catalog. That's what I spent all morning doing. It's being printed, so I'll have a couple of hundred copies. I'll take some up to Sask Expo, but I mainly want to make sure I have some for Saskatchewan Libraries Association annual meeting next week, when I'll have a table there at the Hotel Saskatchewan. So walking videos may be a little thin on the ground the next few days, depending on how things work out. I hope I'll be able to do one in Saskatoon on Friday before things start. Maybe go up over the Broadway Bridge and maybe back down over the other bridge, kind of thing. Hi, Colleen. I don't think I'll try to do any walking on Saturday or Sunday. Oh, here comes the dog. The stairs. We're going to collide at the top, it looks like. Morning. No snow. Still a little bit in the shade. You can see it on the other bank over there. Nice and dry too, so that's good. I only wore my runners today. Hopefully before long it'll be shorts, but not quite yet. Hello, Robin. Sign of spring. Certainly not the first robin of the spring, but a robin of the spring. Got a couple of boxes of books yesterday I was happy to see. I wasn't sure they'd get here before I went up to Sask Expo, but I got a box of Duotero, which is the science fiction novel by Brad C. Anderson that I'm republishing through Shadowclaw Press Reprise. And I got a box of Star Song, which I was out of. That's my one that was shortlisted for the Aurora Award for Best Young Adult Novel this year. So I really wanted to have some for my table. Put it off a little close to the wire to get them, but they came in yesterday, so that's good. Whoa! The wind overpowered the gimbal there. Okay, onward and upward. Maybe I'll go under the Pasco Street Bridge today. We'll see what it looks like. I haven't gone that far for a while. On the other hand, that adds 15 minutes to the walk, and keeping it a little shorter might not be such a bad thing with taxes calling my name. I'd really like to get them finished in one day. It's a lot of printing and calculator work. Figure out income and expenses. A lot of stuff is deductible when you're self-employed. And as a member of Canadian Actors Equity, there's even a few things on that side I can claim. But it's mainly business expenses. That usually knock me down far enough that I don't have to pay a lot of tax. The only reason I don't have to pay a lot of tax is that I don't make a lot of money. So, you know, there's good and bad to that. Nice and brown. Soon to be green. We're almost into May. The trees will start to leaf out in May. By the end of May, it should look like summer, or late spring anyway. Still snow over there, and that spot the sun never reaches down in the waterfall park there. Creek is not as high as it has been. Muddy though. I'm counting on there being no puddles I have to worry about today. Probably a little damp down there. I won't try walking along the riverside path. It's probably okay, but I have done it once. I'll stay on the concrete today, asphalt. Now it won't be long till the baseball fields are usable. Probably usable now. There's a couple of city vehicles over there, so they're obviously getting things ready. Comes another dog and its owner. 2 dogs. No, 1 dog. The other thing is a tree stump that for some reason doesn't have any bark on it. It looked white, so I thought it was a sitting dog. Yeah, it's a little damp, but no snow anyway. So it'll be usable soon. Don't know when ball season starts for the slow-pitched companies. And the huge pool of water that was there is quite drained away. Oh, here. Just for variation, I will go down here for the next little bit here. Looks dry enough. A little closer to the creek. It's much greener and feels more secluded once the leaves come out and the grass grows here. I'm going to go back through here because I see snow down that way and possibly mud. Here's a remnant of the big pool of water, so it hasn't entirely drained away. Water always collects there when the snow melts. Quite breezy. It's going to be in my face when I turn around too, which means it's blowing from the southeast, which is kind of odd. South and east. Yes, there's the horseshoe pitch. No horseshoes currently being pitched. The pitch, the catch, nobody catches horseshoes. Over Elphinstone. Into West Sherman Park. Sheldon Williams, I would think. Collegiate. snow over there still in the shade. So I still don't know why this road was ever closed. It never did anything that I saw. It's closed for like a week. Hello, Brian. They never dug it up. So I don't know what that was all about. Heading to the footbridge over there. I know for sure I'll walk tomorrow. Again, I got to get ready for Thursday, so I'll see how that works out. Creek's still high, but definitely a bit lower than it was at its highest. I'm sure the lake must be ice-free by now. Last week, or Friday, when I walked around it, there was still ice sort of down at the west end, but it had opened up at the other end where the water comes in. And after the last couple of days we've had, I suspect it's all ice-free, but I won't be doing my Friday walk. So by the time I walk around it, which might be another couple of weeks because of things next week, it will definitely be ice-free. Okay, another look at the creek, looking east. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Looking west. What is it? Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine almost always makes me high. Something like that. If I had a song that I could sing you, I'd sing a song of days. Something. Been a while since I tried to sing Sunshine on My Shoulders. There was a kid in high school who was quite small, and his nickname was Sunshine. And the yearbook one year, they put Sunshine on My Shoulders weighs about 98 pounds. Which I don't think he had a problem with. Sing a song of days just like today. That's it. Had a gift that I could give you. I'd give you things to make you feel this way. Is that right? I need the ghost of John Denver to come down and whisper in my ear, but I guess he's busy. Again, the only reason this bends is for aesthetic purposes. There is a short, straight route, dirt path right along the creek. But then you don't get nearly as much walking. There's ice on the puddles, so you can tell it was below freezing last night. Might be above freezing by now. And mostly deserted along here. He looked suspicious. I mean, he looked at me like I was suspicious. I think I'll go over at least under the Pasqua Street Bridge. There's a bit of a puddle, but I don't think it'll bother me this time around. I don't have boots, so I've been counting on no puddles. I think I should be able to get through this without getting my feet wet. This is where there's often was a huge puddle earlier in the year, the spring. Now it's mostly drained away. Oh, little ice, but can't have everything. Oh, but that puddle's still there. That's annoying. All right, well, we'll have to go through the grass. Trouble is, it's probably quite wet. I think I have to go all the way up that way to try to avoid anything significant in the way of dampness. Because the grass can look like it's fine, but it's actually frozen water under it, and there's some of that going on here, but it's not too bad. Yep, there's the worst. All right, well, I think I got through that without getting my feet wet. Still, it's like, as I've said before, it's like walking on creme brulee. Oh, drat, got a little water in my shoe right there. Oh well. Sometimes you just can't win. Should have worn my boots. I was sure it would be dry the whole way today. Now I have just a touch of cold water in my shoes. Hopefully this is not too wet. Looks better than what I was through back there. I knew it. I knew how easy it is to misjudge that. Here's where it had come right over its banks and completely flooded the path earlier. So if it looks like we can go under the bridge without getting our feet wet, well, you won't get your feet wet, wherever you are, probably. I'll go at least go down and see what it looks like, and if it's clear, I'll carry on under the bridge for the first time in a while. look like? Then it goes into snow again over there, so it's probably open along one edge. Water is just lapping at the edge there. Yeah, it's just this little bit of snow and then it clears up. Exciting. There's a weir up here we can take a look at, see how much water is pouring over it. Or if it's completely under. Looks like it's completely under, actually. Where the water turns white there's actually a weir, but it's completely submerged. It's just elevated enough to change the flow of the water there. Well, not completely submerged. I guess there is a bit of a drop. Couldn't see it from that direction, but actually it's quite a bit of a drop. Let's go down and take a look. Oof! More of a drop than I thought. Danger, keep off. Yeah, well, that would be thin ice for sure. Not with the fact it's flowing, but any time it would be. There you go. Bit of a weir. I'm not quite sure what purpose it serves. You can see the water foams, literally foams, turns into foam. Now, how wet is it over here? Can I make my way alongside the... I think so. Hi, Elmer. You might very well. I'm here usually every Monday morning. Sometimes other days of the week, obviously. Today's Tuesday. I'm the guy with the gimbal. I haven't seen anybody else walking around with one. I have seen one run into one other live streamer, but he does it on his bicycle and he didn't have a gimbal. He's just holding his phone, which is precarious and jerky. I don't mean he's a jerk. I mean his video would be jerky. This is not too bad now. Later, when the weeds come up, this path is very, very thistly, as I learned last year. Oh, maybe I will. No, I'll go this way, up by the apartment buildings here. The van is right there with... Oh, it's a bit of a low spot here I forgot about. Come all right. And then you got to watch out for the gopher holes. Break a leg. We say that as good luck in the theater, but you don't really do it in real life. There we go. I'm about to turn into the wind once I turn around and start heading east again. We have a huge now renting sign here because of course it faces the Luban, so good free advertising. Yeah, outdoor stairs, which would concern me in the winter, but I guess they keep them clear. I assume they clear them very well. But it's always struck me as an odd design for Saskatchewan. There's a bunch in Weyburn like that too. They are covered, but snow's still going to get on those steps. I've never walked by here when it's snowy, though. It's not as easy to get to. We'll go down this way, because I don't think I've gone this way before. Not very often, anyway. Sort of people's backyards, but they don't have doors leading onto them, so I guess not really. There's some picnic tables and stuff here, but not a lot in the way of landscaping there. There's the back of Saskatchewan Express, the old school that's now a performing arts school and company. Right, now we've turned east again into the wind. I think I'll go up here and walk along 14th. Just because I often walk over there and I don't as often walk over here. Get across Pasco without getting run over, which is not too difficult. Split in the middle with an axe, I always think when I see that pair of buildings. Split down the middle. Bridge to nowhere. Modern one over there. Something making a lot of noise, I don't know why. Big Luma spin, Laura spin, I mean. Somebody doing renovations probably. Foam and fire, they must be putting in a new insulation. Blowing it in, I'd guess. Well, here's a new one for sale. Bit of ice there. One reason I came this way is it should be a little more sheltered from the wind without the big open space of the park right next to it. Alright, now we'll go down along 14th to Elphinstone, then zigzag through the cathedral neighborhood and home before you know it, where income tax awaits. Another problem with the wind, I got something in my eye. Gotta wait for the tears, hopefully, to wash it out, because it's painful. That's a nasty one. There's absolutely nothing I can do about it except suffer until the tears hopefully wash it out at some point. gone, but it's moved at least. Oh, that's the bad thing about contacts and wind in April. April blows a lot of dust around because all the snow left dust and dirt when it melted. And the wind blows and picks that up, and so there's a lot of grit in the air. And if it hits your eye and your eye has a contact in it, the contact traps it against your eye, which is the state I am in right now. Walking one-eyed, actually, because it hurts to open the right one. There's no way to get it out without some way to rinse it, and there's absolutely nothing around here to do about that, so I just have to suffer. Hopefully it takes care of itself in a few minutes. And hopefully I don't get something in the other eye at the same time. That's the worst. Grit in both eyes at the same time. You might as well give me a white cane in that instance. I think it may have come out. Oh, that was unpleasant. I should wear sunglasses, but then I can't see the screen or any comments, so it's kind of... I guess I could wear like racquetball goggles. I've got a pair somewhere. I haven't played racquetball in 20 years, but I've got a pair of goggles somewhere. Might look a little odd. Or swim goggles, that'd look even odder. Not as odd as swim goggles and only wearing swim trunks as I did this. That'd look really odd, especially in April. Don't think I'd do that. Oh, that has been painted and spiffied up at some point recently. I'm sure it wasn't that bright a yellow last time I walked by here. It's a nice fence, the sort that doesn't let anybody see what you're up to on the other side. Makes you want to look through the little opening though. Looks like a nice backyard. Princess Street. There's a king and a queen and a princess. I don't know if there's a Prince Street anywhere though. There might be. This path will take us by Connaught School up here to our left. See the yellow slow down to 30 school zone sign up there. I have yet to exceed 30 while walking, so I don't have to worry about those. Mosaic Stadium. Or I guess we'll be in the not too distant future as the football season kicks in. I don't even know when it starts. Exhibition usually in June. First exhibition games. But schedules have been weird the last few years, so I don't know what they're doing this year. Hopefully it's more normal. We're hosting Grey Cup in November, so should be some interesting walks when that festival is on. There's Connaught School. New school, built where there was a very old school. The old one was in bad shape, so they tore it down. They've been built in 1914, I think. Now the kids have this spiffy new school, which is much bigger and much nicer. As I always say, people who went to the old school didn't want it torn down. You know, it's a landmark in the neighborhood and all that. But if you're a kid, you'd much rather go to a building like this than an old one. And by the time you get, and I'm sure we're already there, the kids who actually went to the old one are probably just about all cleared out, aged out, and the ones who are there now never knew the old one and never think twice about it, so ancient history to them. I've been reading this book about major decision points in 1940 that affected the course of the Second World War, so things like Hitler deciding to invade Russia and Japan deciding to risk confrontation with the United States, and Britain deciding to fight on after the fall of France, those kinds of things. And I'm reading this, 1940. Well, 1940 was only 19 years before I was born. I was born in 59. But to me, you know, the Second World War has always seemed like ancient history. And yet, 19 years ago now, it's 2003, that's hardly ancient history. But I guess if you're a kid it is. If you're born now, by the time you're old enough to think about it, in a few years you'll think 2003, or, well, for that matter, kids now, you know, my daughter was born after the turn of the millennium, so that's ancient history. There's nothing particularly groundbreaking about that observation. It's just something that everybody goes through as they get older. And I'm getting older, but so are you, so don't go feeling superior. We've rewatched all of Seinfeld. We're watching the last season now on Netflix. I'd only seen a few episodes when it was actually on, oddly enough, so it's been very fun. And, you know, for the most part, you don't think about how old it is, except when you see a car, or the fact, of course, there's, at least in the early going, there's no cell phones. Things like that. The internet has been mentioned. Jerry has a computer on his desk which has changed over the course of the 9 seasons. He never uses it, so it's like watching Buffy, which I did rewatch. Let's go down here. So many of those stories would play out completely differently if you remade Buffy, because you'd have to deal with the cell phones and texting abilities and all that. So there'd never be any question about where people were unless you somehow disabled their cell phones. Which I did in my Shards of Excalibur series, because I faced that problem, but my solution was that my bad guy, Rex Major, who's really Merlin, had his magic all through the internet, so they had to be very careful about using the internet in any fashion, including cell phones and texting and stuff, because his servers contained a bit of his magic, and he could use it to track them, see what they're up to. So that's how I dealt with it. That and the fact that Ariane was kind of poor and didn't even have a cell phone. Wally was rich. Had one. Could have had one. So I did mention their existence, but they couldn't use them very much. And when they wanted to use the computers to do some searching, they had to use magic, which Ariane had the power to transport herself and someone else. Anywhere there was water, they had to go elsewhere in Canada to use like library computers and things, which gave me a whole scene. Regina dumping and hauling. I need them at some point. There's a lot of stuff we could get rid of in the basement. The other time I really ran into that was my novel Right to Know, which was originally written in the 80s, basically. Set on a generation starship, and the main character is like the crew mouthpiece. He, does the evening news, which is the model I used when I started. Was all broadcast television. And by the time the book was published a few years ago, it all seemed really old-fashioned, and I had to rewrite it to make it more like an onboard internet network situation. It wasn't too hard to do, but it definitely was noticeable, because I think I wrote it before World Wide Web even kicked in. I think I wrote it in the late 80s. The original version. And then ended up with the sequel, Falcon's Egg. They were both published by Bundoran Press, but when Bundoran closed down, they came to Chautauqua Press, which is where you can buy them now. Collectively known as Peregrine Rising, because the name of the planet is Peregrine. Right to Know, and it's set largely, there's this generation starship, and then the planet that they arrive at already has people on it, and exactly how that happened and what that means is sort of the story. And Falcon's Egg is set 7 years later, and there's a kid who's a teenager in Right to Know, who is the main character in Falcon's Egg. So that was fun to do. It's more of a military story, really. It's quite a military science fiction in a way. Kind of. I've never written what I really consider military science fiction, although a couple of them have been called that by reviewers. Certainly has been combat in a number of my stories, but I don't think of it as military science fiction. Although I've called it that myself sometimes if I wanted to sell books. So here's our Crescent. Just cross over. It's a four-way stop, so it's a good place to cross College here. And down here. Second elm to the right and straight on till morning. Except it's not straight. There's a lot more than two elms. Second elm to the left and keep curving. Hello, and thank you. Thank you for watching, and you're welcome. This one for sale, nice one. If you'd like to live on our Crescent, we'd be neighbors, kind of. Not that I know anybody, hardly anybody that lives along here. They used to do Crescent block parties, but haven't done one for years. And you'd find, oh, I didn't know you lived on the Crescent. People you knew that actually lived here. But you don't really, we know our neighbor on one side, the other side, our neighbor lived there for longer than my wife's grandparents owned the house, I think, our house. Or close to it anyway. half a century probably he lived there at least. He's over 100, so it could easily have been longer. But he's gone. House is being rented, and we think it's going to be torn down and something new built there, which will be disruptive to us too, of course, but what you going to do? We're about to tear up our backyard and build a deck and a small extension, so we're going to be disruptive for a bit too. I'm mostly worried about the cat. He's not going to like that. But I guess he'll live. Especially when they come in and jackhammer off the old concrete porch. I hope the rest of the house doesn't fall apart when they do that. Things falling off shelves and stuff like that. Shouldn't. I don't think it's really attached to the house, that concrete. I like this big block, and it's got to have sand inside, but there's no way it's solid. Margaret Ann's grandfather built it as a deck, I guess, but it's really just a small porch. That's a cool house. Oh, they're doing something on it too. Working on the outside there. We'll stop at this intersection coming up, and then I'm off to do income tax. Wish me luck. It's just time consuming. I've done it many, many years now. I'd like to have an accountant do it, but then I'd have to keep far better records than I do. And every year I think, I'm going to keep better records this year. And then you get to April and you're doing the income tax, and it's already 4 months in. And, well, I didn't really do it yet. I guess it's never too late to start. You know, keep everything in a computer spreadsheet, so at the end of the year I just have to tally things up that way instead of digging through papers. But anyway, that's what I'll be doing. So thanks for walking with me. I may or may not be back tomorrow or the next day. I just don't know what it's going to look like this week. But I will be back. So bye for now.